Hello and welcome everyone back to the FSL Wildrift Open 5 powered by Intel and Yahoo. My name is Infinity and this time around for today we have LOTUS as our co-caster, and LOTUS, quite a bit of a long time since we've last casted.
Yeah, finally part of the FSL family here. So definitely excited for this action-packed Sunday. Yesterday I was watching the games for FSL, and just like previous iterations, opens 1 to 4, everything has been so action-packed when it comes to this female gamers going at it in the Wild Rift, and I expect nothing less today here, Infinity.
Oh yeah, these are the best teams now. We have 3 teams left in day 2. We have PEEKACHU, we have MXH, LOTUS Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Chasing Dreams now waiting in the grand finals. And these are really stacked players. And I'm really excited. I think before the series has started, Oculus, we were talking about MXH, LOTUS Ladies. We were talking about PEEKACHU.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see them happen. We're going to see it occur in front of our eyes for the lower bracket final.
And that's true. Again, Pikachu does have players that were heralded as the best in their region. That's one. Second is we were able to also witness them during the SEA Games, in where they were able to bag the silver medal, only behind Grand Sky Aries during that time. But MXH Lotus Ladies, again, is a team that did come from Vietnam. And we all know that Vietnam is a very strong League of Legends Wild Rift PC region. So this is going to be a very exciting matchup in the lower bracket final. And what awaits them in the grand finals is the big boss, Chasing Dreams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talked about SEA Games, right? I think 2 of the
Mhm.
players from SEA Games are now in Chasing Dreams, and these players as well is really strong when it comes to team coordination, when it comes to in-game knowledge, because the history and the experience accumulated by these players are so much,
Mhm.
and I'm expecting a lot of things today.
What are we on, like the second year of Wild Rift, right? And I think this
Yeah.
is we're running towards the first year anniversary, or I think we just finished our first year anniversary when it comes to Wild Rift competitive, and
Mm-hmm.
the amount of experience that these players gained, some of them dating back to League of Legends PC days, just translated over here onto Wild Rift, and we have been seeing familiar names. They haven't been challenged throughout the entirety of their stay at the top. But anything can happen here, Infinity. This ladies that we have from Pikachu and MXH Lotus Ladies, they can put up a good fight, and on a good day, they could possibly upset the reigning and defending champions in Chasing Dreams.
Oh, definitely. I mean, anything can happen. Yesterday, in the lower bracket round 2, we saw
Mhm.
2 games that went to 30 minutes into 25 minutes, 2 team fights, 5v5 that went no casualties at all, no kills.
Mhm.
So I think at this point in time, I cannot expect
Is
anything
it
because I
fun?
think those expectations are going to get broken.
Uh-huh. But is it fun though?
I
The
mean,
30
it's fun.
minutes
It's
that
new. It's new.
goes the distance?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of my take as well, or how I view female Wild Drift meta. They often go for the scaling compositions. They are a fan of Oriana in the mid lane, the traditional mid laners. They don't often go for the assassins. And that is the main reason why we see this games go the distance at 25 minutes, at 28 minutes, in where the Elder Dragon is the win condition. Palms get sweaty. And one mistake could actually be, the biggest difference maker. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen today for the lower bracket finals, but for the grand finals, things may change.
All right, let's see if those expectations are going to get met. Because right now, we are jumping into the picks and bans on the draft for game number 1 between MXH Lotus Ladies and PEEKACHU.
All right, we do see that there are already bans that has been basically removed from the Wild Rift right now for our game number 1. Again, Infinity, this is a best of 3. And you could see already that there are 2 scaling champions that has been taken away here by the Vietnamese representatives. We have Ziggs taken away from the pool, also the Nasus, and a very staple support slash mid laner in the Galio. Meanwhile, on the other
Right.
side, we see Gwen, Nautilus, and the Karma more on the support role, being attacked by Pikachu.
Yeah, and I'm liking these bans so far. We've seen all of these champions be of a high pick rate from yesterday's matchups, so expect a lot of things from these champions if it is left open. However, surprisingly enough, MXH is going to lock in onto Olaf as their first pick.
And this is very, I would say, very bold of them to do. Again, Olaf is one of those champions that can easily be countered by going for the Jarvan, by going for the Camille, and it basically is screaming early game for MXH Lotus ladies. So if our average game time of 25 to 30 minutes happen, Olaf really falls off in the late game. So this is kind of good for Pikachu.
Yeah, and the thing is, Pikachu is going even level playing field on that early game pressure. They're blocking onto Jace, and they want to match it up. We'll see, though, where these roles are going to go, because Corki is going to be the second pick for Pikachu. And as for MXH, they lock in on Lucian and Nami for their first phase picks.
I'm liking this from Lotus ladies. Again, they have done their homework. Olaf is very good in the early game, and when you have a Lucian that is a traditional marksman, this is kind of the out of the box marksman that we have. If paired up with a very aggressive support like a Nami, he basically has the early, mid game, and late game power spike. So this is going to be very interesting as to what the answer will be from Pikachu. Pikachu wants crowd control, wants disengage to supplement their damage, and Gragas is the perfect fit.
Yeah, and I think Gragas at this point is one of the most evergreen champion in the Rift. Not just because of his capability to engage and disengage, but also his flexibility as well in the Rift. You can flex him in mid lane, you can flex him as even support, top lane, jungle. Like, where would this Gragas go? Now, going into the bans though, we have Garen and Akali removed from the champion pool from both these teams.
You know what? This is quite surprising that they are the ones to ban the Akali. I guess this is just more of, Lotus ladies knowing that it's not their style to go for the Akali. But Akali is actually very good against the Corki. You find the Akali, you find the Corki on the backline with your assassins, and that would be very good for you and your squad. Yeah. Another assassin has been banned here by Lotus ladies. So I guess their rationale here is that they want to take care of their Lucian and Nami that is going to be very vulnerable in their backline. Now, what would be the first pick here by Pikachu for the second rotation? They still need the jungler. Unless they want to go for Jace jungler.
Oh! Same reaction. I mean, Kaisa with a Corki and Jace. This is looking like a glass cannon composition. They're really heavily relying on those damage to outscale the lack of defensive capacity of this draft so far. And as for MXH Lotus, they're hovering onto an Ahri. They're locking it in, and so they want to go for some pickoffs later on.
Will we see a Xin Zhao jungle for Pikachu? The Xin Zhao would actually be a perfect fit for Lotus ladies because it basically negates double marksman composition that is currently being played by Pikachu. But they're going for the traditional counter to the Olaf, and rather than going for the Xin Zhao to counter all these projectiles, they want Camille to be basically the initiator, the engage. And it does look like Infinity that we would be seeing Jace in the jungle. It's not going to be Camille in the jungle. And I also want to give out a refresher as to how the names are being pronounced for Pikachu's side. Again, for the Baron lane of Pikachu, it's pronounced as banana, as in like a fruit banana. And then we have jungle, Jebi, mid lane, Awin. And then the Dragon lane and support does actually have English names.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you very much for that, Autolus. Now, before we jump into game number 1 here, Otto, paint me a picture. What can we expect from both these teams?
Late game. Just ultimate late game, right? You have a very good scaling composition for the side of Pikachu. Lotus ladies does want to rush things up. They have the Ahri that does have a very good 2-item power spike. They do have a Riven that does have a 3 good item power spike. But then again, the question is, would they be able to penetrate the glass cannon composition or the front to back that Pikachu possesses right now? Because once these games go past 20 minutes, past 23 minutes, I'm really liking the draft of Pikachu.
Yeah, and yesterday we went that far, even further than 23, even further than 25, as we talked about a while ago. So there is potential that we can go to that extent. So we'll see. As you've stated, we're looking at the late game here for both these teams, and I'm excited to see game number 1. This is a lower bracket final. The winner here will go to the grand finals to battle it out up against Chasing Dreams.
That's true, which is a tougher task, I would say, just on paper, because from our notes, Chasing Dreams is like gunning for a 3P tier Infinity since Open 3 when they were named Tuwaha. And then it's like every open they change their name, but the results doesn't really
Doesn't
change,
change.
right? It
Yeah,
doesn't change, and it's
absolutely.
going to be a very exciting time as we head over to game number one here.
Yeah, and you know what? We could, I think, name them at this point. Not the best organization so far because they constantly change organization, but we could
Mm-hmm.
state them as one of the best teams in FSL in the Wild Rift scene for Women's League. So really, really strong competitors here for League
Mm-hmm.
of Legends Wild Rift. And I'm really, really excited. As of right now, though, lower bracket
Mm-hmm.
final game number one is here as we enter the Rift. Very standard so far.
Yeah, again, the Name Illusion is basically known to win the lanes for you and your squad, but apparently they're not getting the priority and they're getting poked out here by the composition from Pikachu. Basically, MXH Lotus ladies has to be careful of the level 3 all-in that Gragas possesses, right? On bot lane, it could be a kill threat. Meanwhile, on the top lane, this is a skills matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Camille versus Riven on top side. I mean, at this point in time, we all know that Baron laners are there to be more of mid game. They're just there
Mhm.
to just wait it out, play it out. They're on the weak side of the map, basically.
Yep, that's true. And this is a tough task for Banana as well, because one of the best early game tools that Camille has in the Baron lane is the ability to poke using the tactical sweep.
Mhm.
But you could see that the mobility of Riven would be able to, negate the damage that comes from the tactical sweep. We could see that there is an attempt to go top side here from our jungler from Pikachu, but it would be mirrored here by MXH.
Yeah, and it's really just all about mobility coming in from these Baron laners. So at this point in time, I don't think it's going to be an easy task for them to, just get killed that easily. Considering they also have flashes readily available. Camille
Yep.
and Riven are two of the most mobile champions in the Rift thus far, considering the current champions in League of Legends Wild Rift.
And it's kind of different from what we are accustomed in seeing in some of the professional leagues that we have in Wild Rift right now in patch 3.5. There has been adjustment in the experience department for the junglers. And so what we often see is a full clear for each for each jungler, which is actually what is being done here by MXH Lotus ladies and Pikachu. But one thing that is different is their priority of the Scuttle Vision still remains at 1 minute and 25, which really helps the vision. So this ganks won't happen anytime soon, Infinity. I believe our first skirmish will most likely happen at 5 minutes.
Yeah, as especially right now, level 5 already for all of these players, for both these teams, and those are considered like one of the initial standpoints of team fights, of those fights, or of those clashes that can occur for both these teams.
All right. We're still waiting for the very first engage, and it could happen on the top side here, Infinity. As we can see, wait, I do have notes on how to pronounce the. It's not Ngokbe. I think it's. Wait, let me check. It is pronounced Niop. Niopbe.
All right, Nyokbe.
Niop.
learn new
No,
things
it's
every day.
letter P. Niop, lil bro. Niop.
Nyokbe.
Yeah, Niopbe. I know.
Okay. I learn new things every day.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Right now though,
Charm
look
not
at
connected.
Claria. Claria has flash. Explosive cast is also there, readily available if ever they want to go for the engage, but too risky. Anis is playing very safe.
That's true. And Claria was actually in the area as well. So Ennis did go over aggressive. A punish from the support from Pikachu to actually be there. Now 2 for 2 or 2 for 3. I mean, for the Scuttle Vision, we could see that Pikachu does what to protect their bot lane. And it does make sense, right? You have a hyperscaling or queen of the late game Kaisa would be more problematic as the game goes on. But there's still an engage potential already available for Claria. She's already level 5, level 6. So the combo of Explosive Cask would be ever so present.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially like you have the flash available for Gragas as well for the flash body snap followed up by the explosive cast. That could be a great combo to fight up against. But once more, Jay's
Ooh.
going through on top side, 2-man roam, but Nyokbe once again playing very safe. I mean, this is the patience game that we're talking about for both these teams.
Yeah, too patient, I guess. Sometimes, but it won't hurt you. And as long as you don't get punished, You hear that sound, Infinity? I think that's the go signal. I think we'll have our very first fight here. Has decided to pick up the package.
Mhm.
So now the transitions or the rotations in where you put your dragon laners onto the mid lane for faster clear and for faster response is going to happen. MXH Lotus ladies prioritizing the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're going for the Mountain Drake, and I think this is enough time for me to catch up. Pikachu, though, starting this Mountain Drake very, very fast,
The
and now
wave?
the Tidal Wave going for
What?
the knockoff. Corki is very low. That's a kill. First blood for
Oh,
MXH. But Pikachu gets the objective as they want. Spirit Rush will not catch up. That will be a trade of objectives and a kill for MXH.
that's quite surprising though. Let me check my notes a bit and check chat later because I believe she had the package, right? And normally, if you have the package available, once you go for the special delivery passive of your Valkyrie, you would be in an unstoppable state. But she
Most
got cancelled by the tidal wave, which basically resulted into the death of Awin here from the mid lane of Pikachu. Quite surprising. I guess it timed out. Or maybe
Yeah.
there's something that changed with the special delivery system of the Corki.
Maybe it's an unfortunate situation for Pikachu at the least, because it's not just about, you know, getting the first blood for MXH, but it's also one of the carries for Pikachu as well. So that's so much of value that MXH Lotus ladies were able to get, and on top of that, they were able to get Tower First Blood that brought them into a 1k gold lead.
That's true. That's breaking down the most important tower here for Pikachu. And this is just in time for MXH Lotus ladies, quote unquote, game plan, which is to accelerate the game. You could see that Huyen and Vina is now transitioning over to the Baron lane side, but the wave clear from Pikachu would be there to negate any dive attempts coming from MXH Lotus ladies. Meanwhile, the double marksman, they're
Ari.
sharing resources here in the mid lane, but
Farm will not connect. Kaisa goes in for the Killer Instinct, and this is very low, so Aya's safe.
no casualty whatsoever. Skill shots missing means full disengage. That's basically the pattern that we have here. No need to go extra risky, especially if you're heavily reliant on your catch skills. And for MXH Lotus ladies, it all starts with Tidal Wave or from the Charm from Ennis. With
Yeah.
both of them missing, there's no reason for them to pursue for them.
Yeah, and on top of that, you have what Gragas readily available to defend or respond. So it was
Yep.
quite a risky play if ever MXH went through and through. But for now, Pikachu, 3-man roam into the bottom lane, goes in to reflect and mirror the pressure that MXH is doing in the bottom side.
It's true. Meanwhile, Aya left here in the mid lane to farm, and again, the ticking time bomb is still on. Infinity. Again, we have a double marksman composition here from Pikachu. Not too shabby when it comes to scaling as well. For Jebby, which is basically the Jace for Pikachu. Things are actually going right. I know that there is a gold lead for MXH Lotus ladies, but if this gold lead won't, I would say, enlargen or won't balloon, then Pikachu should still be all smiles here.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's what, 1k gold lead in 8 minutes, and it's not that big actually. It's just like one team fight that could change the whole thing in your favor when it comes to gold advantage. So pretty much that is still not that bad so far. And again, the tidal wave will miss.
Yep. It does seem that their tidal wave is really their engage tool. Other teams would prefer it as the counter engage tool, but you could see that without the Ari, there's really no way for them to catch properly this Camille in the Baron lane. We all know that one hook shot could cover the distance, could cover a mile here in Wild Rift. So it's just so hard for MXH Lotus ladies without the Ari to start fights and to start pickups.
Yeah, and on top of all that, tidal wave is so predictable when you're using it up
Oh
far.
yeah, that's true.
So that puts also a pressure for MXH Lotus, that puts pressure onto Huyen. Like, how will we be able to use this? Because there is 2 times in a row we use our ultimates, and so far there is no one who got caught from it. Although right now, Pikachu though.
Yeah, that's a free Rift Herald that was just gifted over to MXH side, and this is what they need. Meanwhile, Awin, very safe and was able to sneak away with that sneaky recall in the brush top side. But this is what MXH needs, right? Accelerate the tempo, take down the first tier towers, and you can see on the bot lane, there is an attempt from Pikachu to go for a death push, but they would get detected here, Infinity.
Oh, Tidal Wave now connects onto Claria. Body Sam to go back and retreat. The Charm connects to CC Chain. Flawless, followed up by the Spirit Rush. Catching up, gets the kill. The calling is there to be forced, but Aya uses up the flash to go back to safety as MXH gets 1 kill.
Finally, MXH goes for a play that would involve NS on the area. Again, when it comes to pick potential, or when it comes to, starting fights, starting skirmishes, MXH really is heavily reliant on NS being present. But we'll see. This could be a very aggressive Riven that we are seeing, because Noipe does have the Proto Belt. Normally, we see stasis all across the board. But for our female gamers, they still want the variety.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason for that. We talked about this consistently all throughout this game 1 in 11 minutes, that they're lacking CC potential. They're lacking the engage tool. So Nyokbe would be that alleviation, going for the Proto Belt to engage it. But now, so much damage coming in from Corki. Jace is there to respond as well. The flash is there. The hammer is in. And they're going through and through to take that kill. A kill for Pikachu in 11 minutes.
That's a power of red buff. By the way, that's an electrocute coming from the Jace, so you could still say that the burst potential will be ever so present. And also looking at the itemization here by Jebby, that's the double armor penetration items that we have, vitality items that we have. Yomu's Ghostblade basically gives you more acceleration or more mobility, and I think that's what they need.
Oh, Hextech ultimatum onto NS. Spirit Rush.
Another one.
Along with the flash, gets back to safety, but Pikachu is there to put pressure in the bottom lane as they secure their second turret in this game.
Back-to-back plays coming from Pikachu, back-to-back positive plays for them, right? Again, it's their jungler making it happen. We did say in our notes that Pikachu did their quote-unquote star players are their Baron laner and their jungler, and so far they're delivering.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if you have a reason for this auto, but Jace with a Duskblade, is there a reason for that?
That's a standard if you want to go for the all-out burst, because they're saying that the role here of Jace is to be the bridge from the early game to the late game. So what you want is the sudden power spike that would scale off, or that would fall off at the later stages of the game. But once he falls off, that's the time when you have the Kaisa and the Corki to do the job for you. So I'm okay with this build path.
I see. Because I was thinking, like, wouldn't you be able to use your passive with Duskblade for Jace?
I think you would.
Or just from the pokes, right? From the shock blast.
Yeah, from a distance, especially from Fog of War.
Okay.
The damage is just so absurd. That's my favorite build path when I'm playing ARAM. So don't question it.
I see. Hey, my bad. My bad.
I'm kidding.
It's a genuine curiosity here for this Jace. Because I've seen...
It's fun.
Yeah, because I've seen yesterday, like, Serpent's Fang from a Jace instead. Then to a Yumu's Ghostblade and stuff like that.
Well, Serpent's Fang is also an armor penetration item that also gives them maximum value if the other members here by Lotus does have huge amount of shield. But you could see that there is only one shield getter here, and that's Noipe.
Yeah.
No one's going for the Gargoyle enchant, so the value of Serpent's Fang won't be as much.
Alright. Right now, Baron Nashor is alive though. Pikachu and MXH Lotus Ladies. We talked about this a while ago, Otto. You mentioned it, that if MXH Lotus Ladies do not balloon their gold lead, Pikachu is still on a safe spot. And right now, from what I'm seeing, there's only a 200 gold difference in lead for MXH.
Yeah, Pikachu is basically proving why they are the favorites, at least in this best of 3. Because they know their win condition, and they're sticking through and through with that win condition. Apparently, or actually, there's a thing that I would want to highlight as well. And there you go. Thanks, Brad, for bringing up the items. You can see Divine Sunder for the Corki. And that's the anti-tank build. Yeah. Basically, what she wants to do here is to survive the all-in by Noipe. And a Divine Sunder at that is actually a perfect buy. So I actually just want to commend Awin here with her item choice on this
Mhm.
Corki.
Yeah, it's all about adaptability at this point. Like that,
Yep.
what that is what separates you from the rest. You know, the knowledge and the experience from these players and from these teams make it so that they're
Mm-hmm.
able to do this. And as you've stated, Divine Thunder anti-attack, and on top of that, a very sustainable item as well that gives you HP.
Mm-hmm. True. That's the best part. Oh, almost. I feared for Huyun's life there because had her recall did not complete, I guess she would have to invest her flash.
Mm-hmm.
And a support that doesn't have flash basically is an all-in
Oh,
angle.
there's
Speaking of
all in.
all-in,
Yuppe, going for the 1v1 up against Camille. Uses up the flash cable to go back, but there is the flash stun
wow.
coming through from Yuppe as they secure the kill onto the Baron laner. for
Package?
Pikachu. Now the package though, the knockup against Riven, but that is going to be a safe play from Yuppe. But on the other side of the fight, you have Olaf going for the
GA.
Ragnarok to
Whoa.
engage. Spirit Rush into the backside, going in, but Stasis from Jay saves her life, but May uses up the flash once more to get that kill, but this is a 4-for-2 trade.
And this is what we're talking about. The front to back from Pikachu is just so strong. With their ability to shred the front line, the first to go down was May. She does have the Guardian Angel, but Ennis too far forward, I would say. The Spirit Crush reaching the back line, the burst wasn't there, and it all resulted in a 4-for-1 overall for Pikachu. They would still be able to get power here in the mid lane, which was the grand prize and the cherry
Yeah.
on top of all.
Yeah, they need that. Why? MXH LOTUS is already scared the tier 1 turret mid lane. They had
Oh.
the map control advantage, but a
Divine
1v1 Blade of
Sunder.
the Exile onto Corki. So close, yet so far. Both of these players are safe. No casualties from that fight.
Right, and that's Awin's item that basically makes her more fearless with the engages from Noibe. Just because of the HP that she was able to get from the Divine Sunder, all those all-ins won't be as scary as it's supposed to be. Normally, if it was a different build, you could see a 100 to 0 full kill potential from Noibe. But because of
Yeah.
the itemization here by Awin, table has flipped.
Yeah,
Basically, so Pikachu is just on a different level right now.
And you also have Status Enchant as more of the defensive capacity
True.
item if ever it comes down to an all-in coming in from Nyoppe, from May, from Ennis, these players that have huge potential to engage. So I think that's also another safety net layer for Pikachu.
Another play for Pikachu is to play with Vision. And there is a Scuttled Vision, however, on the top side. So I guess in just 2 minutes, once the Elder Dragon is up and available, we could see another team fight here, Infinity. And again, I just fear for Noibe here. Just the fact that she went for Proto Belt gives her less survivability. As a Riven, you basically want the stasis available for yourself because it allows you to basically have your cooldowns up and running again for a second combo.
Look
But
at the bottom
because she needed the
lane.
mobility to be on par with May and Ennis, she wanted to go for the Proto Belt. I think she has to change it one way or another because again, the burst potential from the front to back of Pikachu won't really give her enough sustain to live through any potential skirmishes or any
Yeah.
potential fights.
Most possibly, regardless of Black Cleaver and Divine Thunder, along with that stance, and maybe that's the reason why she picked up all these items to alleviate the lack of defensive abilities and defensive capacity for herself. And so far, both these teams are just dancing around the Baron Nashor. No one's going for an all-in because we talked about this yesterday. You have the innate disadvantage of going first on an objective because you're using up your skills, you're using up your cooldowns on that specific objective as well.
Now Noibe, as we remember, she won that 1v1 earlier. So that could be a win condition for MXH Lotus ladies. They could elect not to go for a 5v5, but rather have Noibe own the side lane, get the advantage from there, and basically win from there. Is it possible? Is it still plausible at this later stages of the game? I would say not, but it's better than nothing.
Right. Elder Drake will come up at 20 seconds though. This is what you were talking about, Otto. This is what you were waiting for. If Elder Drake comes up, another clash will occur. We'll see though if that happens.
True. Also, Lord Dominic's Regard has been bought here by Vina. One of the newer AD items that we have in patch 3.5
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that doesn't have the best passive of all.
Uh-huh.
Did you know the passive about
Yeah, it's like
of LDR?
extra attack
Like,
speed, right? But a fight though, Bloody Slam onto 2. Tidal Wave is there, 3-man
Tohu
knockoff, but
and
that's
Dead.
not enough. Pikachu will able to remove 1 members from MXH Lotus
Awin
Ladies.
from the
Now onto the
side.
backside, going in for the package along with the
Ooh.
Valkyrie, having a lot of space secured. And his though with a Spirit Rush will be able to get some space there as Pikachu will be able to secure 2 kills from those fights and now have a 2-member advantage.
They can go for a full reset and they will still have time to go for the Elder Dragon. Remember, Elder Dragon does not really pose any damage threat from the opposing side. Yes, there is the jungler still alive and kicking for MXH Lotus Ladies. But this is still a 5v3, a
They're
5v4
going for the Elder
Infinity.
Drake.
So, Pikachu...
They're going for the
Just-
Elder Drake.
I know, they're rushing things down. This is going to be very interesting.
Or could possibly be just a Death Rush. Claria is waiting on the Pixel Brush, waiting for Mei to come in. All members alive for MXH aside from Nyopbe. And Mei is there. Ragnarok is ready. The root
Wow.
is there to follow up the turnaround. Pikachu as they secure the kill. They secure the jungler. And removing this would be so significant as there are 2 objectives ready and available in the Rift.
5 people still alive gets the Elder Dragon buff. And I think that's it. That's the winning, I would say, objective that you would need to really cement this 1-0 in the lower bracket finals. And we saw there the basically this decisiveness of Banana and Jebby to just go for an all-in onto Mei. Remember, this is an Olaf that they picked first pick, BP1 or Blue Pick 1. And they're proving once again that Pikachu, once you play Camille into an Olaf, things would go into your favor, and you could see it there. 1 Hextech Ultimatum was enough to shut down Mei.
Yo, the damage of Awin. The Baron Nashor got melted. How many seconds was that?
Maybe give or take 10.
It's so quick.
But that's a double marksman for you. I know, they're just on a rampage right now. Look at the items. You have a full item build for Jebby. You have a almost full item build for
Yeah.
your double marksman. And they would just shred Mei and Noitbe in an instant, especially knowing that they have the Elder Dragon buff. Remember, that's 2 damage for you, a burn, and an execute threshold. So once those HPs go below 15%, it's an auto execute.
Yeah. And Otolus, I have to commend you. You talked about, 23 minutes, and I think you're a prophet. We're now nearing that 23 minutes, and Pikachu is now on a rampage. As you stated, they're going in for the pressure in. They have the Elder Drake, they have the Baron Nashor buff, and they're pressuring the top lane. They secured 2 inhib turrets. Now MXH Lotus has to defend if they could.
Oh
But the
my
question
God.
is if they can. Now Tidal Wave connects onto 3, no follow-up though, and now the isolation target. They kill off Ribbon, and that will end the game as Pikachu will strike first in the lower final.
Very good win condition for Pikachu. Stick through with their game plan, and it netted them a 1-0 lead against MXH Lotus Ladies. What a way to start our day here, Infinity. And again,
Yeah.
this is a best of 3. So match point for the Singaporean representatives.
Yeah, well, what a game, what a game. 23 minutes, they went in for the late game. It was a bit of a rocky road at the start, but they
Yep.
were able to push through.
And overall MVP was awarded to Jebby, which was the choice. I would agree with that, just because, again, in this type of composition that you want full scaling,
Uh-huh.
the biggest responsibility lies on your earliest game champion. And the early game champion for Pikachu, the ones that is responsible to thwart off or to fend off Lotus' attempt to rush it down in the early stages, is Jebby, their jungler. It's not often that we see Jace in the jungle, but Jebby is showing that she's very capable in playing this champion.
Yeah, and on top of like the early game champion, early game power spike, right? You also have the map presence from this player. You also have the map presence from Pikachu's jungler that was so
Mhm.
significant in the Rift. She was going on top side, she was going in mid lane, she was going on bottom lane. The map
Mhm.
presence is there, and that made it so that it became so much easier for Pikachu to just roam around and put pressure up against MXH.
And also, not to take away anything from the players of Pikachu, especially Awin on
Mhm.
Corki. 36% damage share on an item build path that is not really known for damage. You have Divine Sunder, you have Solari Charge Blade. It's a mix and match of items here, but
Yeah.
it was the perfect set of items against the composition of Lotus Ladies.
Yeah, and you also have GA on top of the Divine Thunder, so it's not really just
True.
the damage item build path, but still a lot of damage has been provided by Awen. And the Av finishes game one. They're already on match point, one win away to go to the grand finals.
And I think they're on their way. But we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
Yeah.
Things could still flip over, but we will have a very short break. And once we are back here in Infinity, we'll have game number 2 of this best of 3 special lower bracket finals.
And welcome back, everyone, to the FSL Wildrift Open 5 for the lower bracket finals, powered by Intel and Yahoo. Once again, we are your shoutcasters. My name is Infinity. Together with me is Autolus. And Autolus, we're already on match point.
Yeah, let's go for the quick attack, Pikachu, or will this be the Lotus Ladies
Hey,
finding
yeah. Love
their
that.
lucky charms this time? The 4-leaf clover, I guess, to really upend and to go for the reverse sweep. Again, just looking at what happened on game number 1, it was just a perfectly executed game plan for Pikachu. There was just one thing that again made me curious, which was the special delivery or the package usage by the Corki that netted the first blood over to MXH Lotus Ladies. And yes, I was right. You should be unstoppable. So maybe it really just timed out. I didn't know what the interaction was, but that almost gave the early game lead into a win to MXH Lotus Ladies. So we'll see if those mistakes would get capitalized this time by MXH.
Yeah, and before the series started, before the game started, Otto, we were talking about, you know what, MXH shows blue again. What do you think will happen on this pick and ban? Is it going to be an Olaf once more? And what would be the scenario if it ever goes to that point?
Okay, so if they go for an Olaf first pick again, chances are they would have to respect again the Camille, the Jarvans, all those champions that could just basically negate the Ragnarok of Olaf. But if they still, if they still remain, I would say, stubborn in their pick and ban phase, I'm seeing a golden path for the Pikachu ladies to really just go on a march towards the grand finals.
Yeah.
Still, I expect MXH Lotus ladies with their support system to have some variance with their pick and draft. And if they have a first pick available for them, I guess the best option is to take away the Jace, because we saw Jebi's ability to play the champion and it's very effective.
Yeah, we'll see as we're nearing onto the picks and bans for game number 2, Otto. And yesterday, the pattern was that no one's picking Yone. There was this one time that someone picked up Yone, but for the most part, Yone is not a priority pick.
Mm-hmm. It's more of like the comfortability of these players to play the Yone. I guess it's not within their playstyle. There are some champions that does the same, does have the same characteristics as the Yone. You have the Gwen, you have the Zed, and we know that Zed has been in the Wild Rift for like the longest time now. So
right,
I guess give it maybe in Open 6, we would see that the champion be unlocked and be played by these ladies. But same set of bans for MXH Lotus ladies here, taking away the scaling composition or scaling champions in Nasus and Ziggs, but now has taken away the Gragas.
Ooh. Autolus? Open 6? Are you from the future? Are you from the future,
Yeah,
Otto?
I know. It's Gwen, this Caesar's time. Let's go.
All right. Gwen, Jace, Rakan, these are the picks from both these teams so far. Pikachu with Jace and Rakan, they're going in for more of comfortability. They've used this before with a change of Rakan as a support.
Rakan is a very intriguing champion just because it's an enchanter, but does have the engaged potential. Rakan, when paired with an Olaf, is a very good champion. So it could have been just a takeaway because they knew that Lotus would still pick the Olaf. The good part the good thing for the draft here by MXH Lotus ladies is that they have a very strong late game champion in the Gwen. So things could go in their favor once we have those 50-50s in the Elder Dragon fights. We'll see.
Absolutely. And a while ago, we were talking about Jarvan and Camille, and some new players may come into the stream and wonder why this is a soft counter or hard counter onto an Olaf. And Camille Ultimate, Hextech Ultimatum locks in onto the champion, and Olaf cannot negate that through Ragnarok, through Ultimate. And in
You have a
similar
video of
manner,
that, right?
yeah, we have a video of that. It even if you go in with the Hex ultimatum first and then you use Ragnarok, it wouldn't negate it. And regardless, it goes vice versa if Olaf comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, Jarvan 4 does the same job as well with the um, Cataclysm that locks in
Mm-hmm.
onto an Olaf. So that is the reason why this is a soft counter onto an Olaf.
There is also one thing that Olaf cannot counter with his Ragnarok, and that is dying. So if you basically just
Right.
pick off the Olaf and basically focus fire on the Olaf,
Uh-huh.
he dies regardless, right? Now, Garen has been banned away here, Nami as well. For the side of Pikachu, they don't want to deal with the Lucian Nami once again.
Zed.
And I have mentioned this, Infinity.
Yeah.
Zed is the better Yone, at least for now, for the FSL Wild Rift Open 5. Just because Zed is has been available in Wild Rift for like the longest time now. It's similar to a Yone, but I'm guessing that, Open 6 will be the Yone introduction / Aatrox introduction.
We'll
So
see.
many
We'll see.
champions.
I'm really excited for the next Open if ever it comes down. As you stated, maybe you're from the future. But here, for the last pick of Pikachu, there is still a potential to go
Ooh.
for top lane or jungle. So maybe a Jay's jungle once again.
Or Zed Jungle. We saw it time and time again during WCAO. And it's already an option, especially against an Olaf. Because again, when we're talking about Olaf, his best trait or his best skill is the Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
But Ragnarok doesn't cancel the damage that you receive. Yes, you get resistances, but imagine if you're an Olaf going in, but the death mark from Zed is available to be focused on you. You would hesitate. And that's what Pikachu wants here. For Lotus ladies to just hesitate of them going in, is once they go in, and once this Olaf is so far ahead of the competition, he will just ravage and bulldoze everyone out of the way.
Yeah, and I think if Olaf uses Ragnarok as well, he would have a decrease in armor and magic resistance. Do correct me if I'm wrong though, Otto.
It's an increase.
Increase. All right.
It's an increase.
So we'll see. We'll see how this would turn out. It's already game number 2, match point for Pikachu. I'm really excited. Paint me a picture here, Otto. What can we expect? Early game, mid game, maybe late game?
Should still be a Pikachu game to win, or I guess to lose. Again, just to pick up of the Zed. A Zed versus Ari is a quote-unquote skills matchup in the mid lane, but this is a Zed in the jungle, right? And we saw that Jace is now going over to the Baron lane, which is basically his home lane. Once you have the priority in these lanes, in the top and the jungle, especially for Pikachu, you will have a great time. Remember, when we studied Pikachu in a nutshell, we did say that their quote-unquote carries are the top side of the map. So once they have a better, I would say, angle towards their item paths, towards them winning the game on the top side, chances are Pikachu would win the game.
All right, so those are the conditions set by Autolus. We'll see if those will come into fruition for this game number 2. I'm really excited. What will happen here? Are we going to game 3 or are we staying at game 2 and go to the grand finals next?
What do you want? Wanna go the distance? What's your prediction?
I want to go game 2. I want to see.
You want to go game 3?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Nah, you don't have to worry. I think the draft overall by Pikachu would enable them to net a 2-0. If it happens, that MXH Lotus ladies would be able to force a game 3, that's also possible. But they would have to do a lot of things correctly in order for them to force a game 3. Again, they decided to go blue side once again on game number 2. This is their choice. They feel confident. They feel comfortable going on blue. So far on game number 1, it did not really give them the win. But on game number 2, we'll see. Maybe it's the Gwen factor once again that would carry Lotus ladies onto the third game.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned about Gwen. Because this is what I'm going to say, right? Both these teams were on a even level playing field for the most part. Their goals were even in 15 minutes, 18 minutes, 20 minutes. And it changed towards the favor of Pikachu when they won a team fight. But MXH Lotus, This states that they have the ability, they have the capacity to go hand in hand up against Pikachu. And I think with Gwen, as you stated, as a very late game champion, to be on par with the likes of Ezreal or maybe Vex against Pikachu, I think there is a potential for this to go to game 3.
Yeah, but they got cheesed right away. You saw Noibe faced against. This is already a losing matchup going against the Jace, right? But what Claria did was to actually just support the Baron lane to force Noibe out of the picture. And what it was, or what it netted them, is a total net positive just because Noibe missed some minions XP and gold. You now see a level 2 against a level 1 in the top lane, and you could still see Claria wants to punish Noibe. They don't want Noibe to really scale well into the late game, at least in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, and we always mention this in the draft that Gwen would be the winning condition for MXH, and Claria knows about this. Pikachu knows about this, so a huge pressure on top side would mean that Nyombe will have a very difficult time into achieving that.
Yep, and you won't be able to dive with an Olaf in the Lucian bot lane, so now the dive here by Pikachu won't get answered.
Grand entrance onto Braum. The fear is there onto these two members as Jace jumps in.
Over-aggressive.
Power dives Zed into the backside.
Wow.
Gets the first blood. Now Gwen. This is a 4-man roam from Pikachu. And now the flash is there from Vex. The trade will be secured as Claria will be ignite. Tick, tick, tick. The double kill for Anise as they get the third. MXH gets to punish Pikachu.
And that's the botched tower dive that MXH Lotus ladies needs in order for them to have a better chance to scale well into the late game. Lotus ladies again did get or was very reactive, but with Annie's roaming topside and with the help of the tower, Noibe and Ennis was able to get 3 kills in the process. Basically just furthering their chances of winning and extending this series into 3 games. Well played, Lotus ladies.
Yeah, and that's really significant because a while ago, Gwen did not have lane prio, and just because of those 3 kills, just because of that one mistake from Pikachu, Nyombe is now on an advantage up against Jace.
True. It's basically negating all that you have planned for if you're Pikachu. But still, they have a very good late game insurance. We have Aya on this Ezreal, and that is also one of the scaling champions that we have. Still, MXH Lotus ladies, look at May. May is planting here bot side. Oh, another dive.
But not enough though, not sufficient to get that kill, but still. Good progress, they're really pressuring on top side. Vex goes in, Fear is there, they still secure the kill.
Like how the win condition of Pikachu never changed. They want to really punish Noibe to a point that Noibe won't be relevant come later stages in the game. MXH Lotus ladies though does their homework and go for a trade of plates. They're focusing down the tower here in the bot lane. Will they be able to take down the tower? I don't think so. Yeah. Because basically with tower plates up, the more tower plates you get, the more resistances the tower gets. Oh, solo kill.
Oh, Vex going in, and Nis is there, kills him off as she uses up the flash to go back to safety. Just a good pickoff overall.
Yeah, that's Ennis by herself, just winning the lane and just recognizing that the flash is down for Vex or for Awin. And remember, Awin is supposed to be the soft counter for this dashes just because.
Once again, 2-man roam from Pikachu. It's just Nyombe time and time again getting picked off.
Right. They want to build a house and it starts with a brick with Noibe's name on it. So that's what they're doing here, Pikachu. Again, just going back to my point earlier, Vex is quote-unquote a supposed counter for the dashes just because of, you know, your fears would be available with all these dashes. Rushat Barrage is going to be used to just clear some minions here on the bot side. Still, with the way the games are progressing, this is still anyone's game here, Infinity. Earlier, I did say, you know, at 23 minutes, it would be a win for Pikachu. But now, I feel that Noibe's ability on this champion would be the biggest factor. I know she's being targeted down, but on the other side of the map, everyone from MXH Lotus ladies are actually performing well and farming well.
Oh, Imperial Drake though, being started by MXH Lotus ladies, and Zed is coming back home, so no junglers are able to get that steal. So Pikachu Not be able to contest as MXH secures the Infernal Drake. No contest.
If they win this game, it will be because of Ennis. Ennis is currently 3-0.
Yeah.
She has to take care. She has to make sure that she doesn't get picked up. That shutdown goal is very juicy right now. The pokes are coming in from Pikachu.
We'll see though. Remember, Zed has ultimate already, so Ennis is the target for Pikachu to be able to kill, get that
This is
gold
5v3.
bounty. We'll see though, as this is a 4v5. Glacial Fissure is already gone. Quickness is there. Tree Man
Oh my
knock off
God.
the charm as they cake the kill onto the support. Claria is dead, but Pikachu still has the eyes on the Rift Herald. But MXH once again, the miracle play as they get this kill with 2 kills on top of it.
True, and Ennis is still alive. Again, Ennis has been so on point with her charms. Not like on game number 1 in where we saw Pikachu just negating the Ari factor. But now, it's a totally different story. They get double objectives at 5 minutes. They can accelerate the game. They can summon this Rift Herald on the mid lane, open up more tower plates for themselves that will basically solve in 30 seconds. And it basically helps Noipe to scale well into the late game. So far, LOTUS Ladies is just on fire on game number 2.
Yeah, and at this point, you're questioning what Pikachu is doing. Is it worth it? Because they're pressuring on top side, they pressured in onto Nyoppe, but the rest of the lanes, the rest of the map is being controlled by MXH.
True. It starts with Ennis. Again, Ennis has been on fire on this area. I want to see the scoreboard. I want to see her items right now. Because I recognize that, yeah, there you go. At 3-0 too, with a farm of 5.7k, she's a one-shot threat for LOTUS Ladies right now. Once her charm connects onto any target, be it Rakan, be it Ezreal, or even the Vex, it will be an instant shutdown.
Definitely. And of course, shout out to Observer and Prod. Right now, though, Pikachu going in for the 2v2 flashes there. Ragnarok to follow up, but that is not enough. Zed is back to safety, and Olaf will not be able to secure
Vex
that
is here.
kill. Vex Rakan going into roam top. Nyoppe is
Shadow
trying to go
Surge.
back. Vex uses up the
connected.
dash. They get in. The quickness is there to go for the charm. The CC chain is flawless as Pikachu get the kill.
Awen still is pretty much on point with her skill shots. You know, Aya won't be able to defend this tower. She doesn't have enough wave clear to go against this three-headed lineup of LOTUS Ladies here in the mid lane. Awen is doing her part. I would say that, but still the problem persists.
Yeah.
This mid laner from LOTUS Ladies, if she continues to be a problem on the side lane, if she continues to be a problem with the spec composition that they are running right now, things would go in the favor of LOTUS Ladies. But we'll see. There is still a window for Pikachu to prolong this game to a point that Aya's damage would be very, I would say, very hard hitting. So
Yeah.
it comes down, you know, with Pikachu's ability to extend this game to the late
Yeah.
game.
And even if you put a lot of pressure on the top side a while ago, that Mark though
Oh, Ennis?
coming in onto Ennis, looking for that kill, looking for that trade, will not be able to secure it. CC chain, Ennis is ready for the charm. Claria is there,
Battle
too
dance?
quick, too fast, as she goes back to safety. But on top side, Nyoppe secures the turret. This is what we're talking about. MXH Lotus's control of the other lanes, so much value.
Yeah, you make a play on the other side of the map, and it does get answered by LOTUS Ladies. And this, time and time again, escapes these threats from Pikachu overall. And it's a net positive once again for LOTUS Ladies. They were able to take down the tower, was able to defend the tower here on the bot side. And I'm feeling that the Pikachu is trying too hard, for the lineup. I know that they have a Rakan that wants to go in, but so far, all this engages from Claria has been questionable at best.
Yeah, and there's just a lack of tankiness coming from Clara. If you're looking at items as well, I think that would be a Rod of Ages first item, I believe. Something similar, or Abyssal Mask.
Possible. For Claria, I think possible Warmugs, maybe? Because it really depends. It's still open, but Rod of Ages at this at this later stages of the game won't be ideal for the Rakan. So maybe it's something else.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, right? Like, how would this turn out for Claria? I don't know what item that would be, because at this point, there's just a huge difference of items, a huge difference of gold.
Wait,
MXH.
it got summoned right away? Whoa. Okay. The Rift Herald gets summoned top lane. Meanwhile, MXH Lotus ladies does set their sight over to the dragon.
Yeah, I think this is intentional though. You have the Ocean Dragon
True.
alive, so MXH Lotus ladies would look to pivot for that objective. However, Pikachu looking for the 3-man roam on top side. Nyop is in danger. Deadmark is there, followed up by Vex Spear, and the CC chain once more. The team coordination is just perfect, spot on for Pikachu as they secure their second turret in this game.
That's one of the lanes down for the side of Pikachu. But you could see that the response from MXH Lotus ladies is to take down the dragon and also put on the pressure on the other side of the map. Still a net positive for MXH Lotus ladies. It's okay. I would say it's a play that I would give 3 out of 5 stars. But they still need more than that if you are a Pikachu fan in order for them to turn around this game. Possibly a 5v5 a 3v4 skirmish that will favor them would basically change the tides of this game, because so far it's been all MXH Lotus ladies.
Yeah, and it's not just about a goal difference now that we're talking about. You have 2 dragons for MXH. You have significant map control of the whole game. Like tier 1 turrets across all boards is gone for Pikachu. So at this point, at this state, MXH has the clear-cut advantage.
And there's like this is a good lecture on how to still be active, still be aggressive even when you're behind.
Oh, Lotus use up the flash for Jace, followed up by Vina. That is a flash for Flash Baron though.
Yep, Shadow Surge connecting onto Huyen.
Vex going in, Glacial Fissure to disengage, but there is on the backside, you have the culling to prove a lot of damage, but so far no casualties done from both sides.
Just the infinite value coming from the Unbreakable of the Braum of Huyen. First, negating the damage from the True Shot Barrage, and of course having that threat of the Glacial Fissure will upend any chase potential, as we see Mei and company here in the mid lane. Pikachu, they have the right idea. They again, Awin's ability to go for the perfectly executed Shadow Surge into a fear has been commendable for Pikachu, but still, MXH Lotus ladies, if you take one side of the map, they take 2. So very well played, at least in the early stages of this game number 2.
Yeah, and 2 is always better than 1. We'll see though how Pikachu will answer on this disadvantage in 13 minutes. And why Clario went in for the Imperial Mandate instead of the prior items we've mentioned.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a support item that is basically we are accustomed in seeing for almost all champions. Rakan even is also a good option for Imperial Mandate. But what I'm really impressed about from MXH Lotus ladies...
Charm connects onto Ezreal, that is good! Glacial Fissure to wall follow up. The knockup is there onto Aya. Unbreakable will for Braum to disengage and negate those damages coming in from Pikachu. But so far, once again, no casualties, no kills from both sides.
Again, just going back to my point, aside from Enes, I'm really impressed with how Noipe has been playing this game. Remember, she was supposed to be on the back foot the entire game. But even with 4 deaths, she's doing her job. She's putting on the pressure on the whole map. And I just cannot stand, or I just couldn't help but commend this Baron laner coming from Lotus ladies, that even if you get targeted down, she doesn't get tilted at all.
Oh yeah, definitely. And on top of all that, the gold difference from both Baron laners is not that far. Yes, it's 800 gold, quite significant if you do an individual matchup comparison. But we're talking about a 2-4-3 champion up against a 2-0-2 champion.
At least now, the Zed will is 1 level away from level 13, which could be a difference maker when it comes to the death mark cooldowns and all that. Because right now with the composition that they have, you need this Zed to go on the side lane. And now they're doing as such. And they assassinate Noipe.
That mark is there onto Gwen, followed up by Jace. Scissors. Cut will not be enough as Nyope 2v1 will get killed. But Pikachu on the other side of the map, Vex is in danger. Uses up the Stasis Ancient. Glacial Fissure to knock up onto Rakan. Vex is there. They want only one left under the turret. And this should be a statement of death as MXH secures him.
This is a base race Infinity. Remember Two champions are still in the bot lane for Pikachu, and I guess they would be successful in taking down third tower here in the bot lane. Successful base race for the side of Pikachu, and in 10 seconds the Mountain Dragon comes up. Overall, finally a winning play from Pikachu.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now they have what the natural lane pressure in the bottom lane, in the bottom side, especially considering that the Mountain Dragon is alive. So much value out from Pikachu.
That's crazy. Pikachu was able to turn things around in the snap. And this Mountain Dragon, they are in the position to contest this. I know that Awin is still in the death chamber, 5 seconds.
No info.
But if you are Pikachu, you don't want to give 3 dragons. They have no choice. They just gave it away, Infinity.
There. Yeah, Baron Nashor is alive though. Pikachu is still there up in this objective. As MXH Lotus ladies is patting themselves on top side now. They have the dominance onto the Baron pit. What will happen next?
Just play the map and make sure to punish Noitbe over and over again. Once Noitbe's aggression goes checked, things will open up for your map. And Pikachu knows that their next play will revolve around the top side of the map, since they already was able to take down the tower on the bot lane. The win condition for Pikachu in the next 1.5 minutes will be to take down the tower in the mid lane of MXH Lotus ladies, and by doing so, they would open up angles for them to put in the vision on the blue quadrant of MXH Lotus ladies and play from there. So we'll see if Pikachu would be able to take down this tower, because I guess I really believe that this tower is standing in the path of Pikachu's ability to finish up and to close out this game.
Yeah, and this is the topic consistently for each and every single tournament, even in Season 0, that mid-tier 1 turret has just so much value in controlling the game and controlling the map, because you get control out from taking the tier 1 turret in the jungle of the enemy team.
And they're poised in taking it down. Look at the bot lane though.
Ennis, left flank, will not be able to connect that charm, has to opt to back away.
There's like a buddy system that is happening right now, Infinity. Jebby and Banana is just the best buddies here in the bot lane, and they want to punish Noitbe once again. Even though that they were able to take down the inhibitor turret already on the bot side, Pikachu still wants to make a play against Noitbe. They know that their win condition is to really just punish Noitbe over and over again to open up the map for Pikachu. But I guess right now, they have to make a concentrated effort to take down this tower, because it negates a lot of play potential from Pikachu.
We'll see, because this is currently just a dance from both these teams, and so far, as you mentioned before, MXH has 3 dragons, and at this point, Otto, what would be that perspective that Pikachu has to take? Because they cannot pick off Ennis time and time again consistently, and is just able to go back away.
It's not Ennis. It's not Ennis that you have to be scared about. I realize that, you know, right now, going against or going for Noitbe is actually a good play. But right now, what they need to do is to really converge into a 5-man strong unit here in the mid lane, be an absolute unit, and take down this tower. That's been their bane so far in their entirety of this game. Once they take down the tower in the mid lane, things will open up for their squad. But MXH Lotus ladies, with the wave clear that they have, they're not allowing Pikachu to really take down this tower in the mid.
Alright, we'll see though. Pikachu hovering themselves into the mid lane. As you stated, this could be an opening for them to take that third, but MXH has mirrored this rotations coming in from Pikachu. They're going on for the 5-man roam, and once again, one team fight can change everything. Remember, the Baron is alive at this state of the game. So we'll see if Pikachu can overcome this kryptonite of a tier 1 turret mid lane.
True Shot Barrage going to be invested, but still, the blue has been secured. Do they have vision? The answer is no. That's the thing.
Entrance. Olaf, they follow up. Pikachu is there going in for an all-in. And now Culling is there to disengage.
Jungler
but at
down?
this point in time, Olaf is very low. The charm is there as they secure Rakan. Followed up by Jace. A 2-for-1 for now. And the backside looking in for the left flank. And it takes his enchant for both these players. But there you go. The double kill as Alwyn is dead. Now the only ones left standing is Aya and Zed for Pikachu. Traded with a 3-for-2.
It's a 3-for-2, but you know that it still is at the advantage of MXH Lotus ladies. They know that the jungler and even Aya is forced to go home. This Elder Dragon could be their passport to a game number 3 Infinity. Less than half health on the Elder Dragon.
Oh,
Can Jebby do this?
Steal? No, the charm is there. This is so difficult now for Zed to be able to go through. The shadow is there, going in
Steal!
for the smite. They get the steal onto the Elder Drake. MXH Lotus. This cannot happen. Pikachu is still in the game.
Right, and I know that there will only be one wielder of the Elder Dragon, but this is enough. This is sufficient. Aya, one of their best damage dealers in the game, still has the Elder Dragon buff. And what a sacrifice, what a miracle play coming from Jebby. Jebby MVP for Pikachu.
Absolutely.
At least in that steal.
Oh, this is so crazy, Otto. I was thinking maybe we'll go to game 3. There's Caster's Curse, but no.
Yeah.
Jebby's still in the game. Pikachu's still in the game at 21 minutes, and they're pressuring mid lane. They've secured 2 turrets already, and this is what their problem was just a while back, but they overcame it. This is their kryptonite. We'll see though what the next position would be for them.
Now it's all about supplementing their vision game on the blue quadrant of Lotus Ladies. There's no reason for them to overstay their welcome here in the mid lane. Yes, you have the pokes from the Ezreal.
Onto one. Uses up the flash onto Alwyn. And now it's Aya going back. It's just too mobile for Pikachu for MXH to pick up.
They still have the pokes coming from the Ezreal. Remember, say he still has that glowing buff on his feet. He still has the Elder Dragon here. Infinity. I'm waiting for the executes to happen, but it's not happening just because of Huyen's ability to negate some of the pokes because of the Unbreakable. So far, Lotus Ladies still standing their ground, defending this mid lane.
Yeah. This is putting up pressure. They're utilizing the Elder Drake. They're utilizing this capacity out of fear onto Braum.
Oh my god.
Puts her at half HP
the Braum is
already.
so tanky.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll look at the pivot from Pikachu. They're going in for a 4-1 with Zed pressuring on top side, forcing out May to go in the same lane. And Pikachu is just still there in the middle lane. They're not giving up. Glacial Fisher onto Claria. That's good. That's amazing. Stasis Anchan going to be forced. Flashed away to go back to safety. Now Ragnar from Olaf is there, but the fear just cancels it out. The negation from Pikachu is so good.
And again, the natural pushing wave on the bot lane stopped MXH Lotus Ladies to advance their chase. Because even if they were able to chase, the kiting potential from an Ezreal, from a Vex, is just too much for Lotus Ladies to handle. Still, with just one Elder Dragon, we saw the gold lead of MXH Lotus Ladies dwindle down by a bit. I know that MXH Lotus Ladies is 8k ahead, but we're nearing the point in where all these ladies would have full items on their champions. We're at 23 minutes now, Infinity. So the gold lead won't be as relevant as it was from a minute ago.
Yeah.
It will all come down to execution.
Baron Nashor's still alive though. So far, this Baron has been alive for how many minutes now? 8 minutes? No one's taking it. Oh. May. Risky play. Is there, looking at up Pikachu.
Claria needs more tanky items. Almost always when she goes in, he dies in the process just because of the Glacial Fisher and the threat of the whole squad of Lotus. Now we're playing Aram. 4 people from Pikachu is here. And the pokes are very, I would say, favorable when it comes to this standoffs. And they're playing to their strength.
Glacial Fisher onto Aya, but too dangerous to just go in. At this point in time, you have Rakan with ultimate ready, and you also have Vex for the fears. So there's a lot of CC potential to be able to go through.
And this is the right play if you are Pikachu. Again, it's not often that we see junglers go for the side lane, but it's the Zed that we're talking about. One of the best side laners that we have in the meta right now. Pikachu wants to go for a quick attack here. Wink, wink. We'll see.
Let's rush. Oh, let's go. Claria is there in the front line, zoning away the enemy team. Elder Drake being started by Pikachu, baiting out MXH Lotus.
Is it their time now? They are still continuing to put on the pressure on this Elder Dragon. There is no vision at all from MXH Lotus Ladies. Pikachu knows this. They have vision wards. They know they don't have vision here, Infinity.
Half HP already for the Elder Drake. Pikachu might just have to take this. Glacial Fissure is there. Knockup is onto Claria. One man down. And Zed is very low. But they still get the Elder Drake. Now Pikachu gets a significant buff.
Run away!
Galme flashes in with the Ragnarok as well onto Jace. They lost 2 members in trade for the Elder Drake.
Now Lotus wants to go for the Baron, but this is very risky. Infinity Teleports has been paused by Pikachu's squad. Remember, if you go for this late game Baron is very much hard hitting at this point. Does have a lot of HP, but we'll see. Is it enough though?
Let's see. Zed
Another
dashes
steal?
in. They won't be able to
steal.
get it, and now it's Zed popping with a GA. MXH Lotus has
Nice.
the dominance into the Baron pit, and now uses up the flash to be able to go back to safety. But Braum is there to disengage any potential engage coming in from Pikachu, and that is just it. A 1-for-1 trade, but for now, only 2-3 members from Pikachu has the Elder buff.
Yep. And 5 man strong with the Baron buff for MXH Lotus ladies. I think that right now Huyan DT has been like the biggest anchor for Lotus ladies. I know that I did commend Ennis time and time again throughout the early game of Lotus ladies, but now it has been Huyan on this Braum, negating a lot of damage coming from Aya and company. My god, this Braum is just so tanky in front of everyone here, Infinity, and they want to take down this inhibitor tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, they just need some opening, but at this point, with Braum there in the front lines for MXH, it's so hard to pivot their way into a win. And right now, Inhibitor is the only one left standing for Pikachu in the base. Vex will not be able to connect on the backside.
Another
Zed is
Glacial
in
Fissure.
danger, has to use the Shadow to go back. And now it's MXH going in for the Nexus. The Nexus is open. Everyone
God.
has their eyes locked in on the prize. This might just go into game 3 as Nyope pressures in as they secure game number 2 in the lower finals.
I guess my MVP right on that game was the Braum. I want to see how much damage was taken by this Braum, because there's just a lot of damage that was tanked by the Braum all throughout that game, and she by herself, she was able to negate Aya's pressure. Let's look at the damage taken. It's 9,396. It's actually fairly lower than May's damage taken, but I guess it's pre-mitigation or post-mitigation. We'll find out in a bit, but still, for me, in my eyes, in my opinion, Huyan was the biggest breaker or momentum breaker for the side of Pikachu.
Yeah, and this was shocking. If I'm looking at the stats, overall,
There you
Pikachu
go.
did
The just the amount of damage that was mitigated by the shields that Huyan was able to present. 37k damage mitigated overall by this Braum pickup by Lotus. My god.
Yeah, the unbreakable will, just too much. On top of that, Huyan was building onto tanky items, right? So that just put it at a very good state with the Dead Man's Plate and also the rest of the items that she was able to build up. And now into game number 3, I think we were being critical of the Ola from a while back, but it looks like it came into a net positive for MXH.
Yeah, at least the early game wasn't as big of a deficit, or wasn't that problematic for Lotus side. Again, it has been NS that really bridged through the early game to the late game for the side of MXH Lotus ladies. Had it not been for NS, it could have been, a 2-0 walk in the park for Pikachu. But again, MXH Lotus ladies mid laner, NS in the early stages, and on the later stages of the game, Huyan again on this Braum, just too tanky, just too big for Pikachu to handle.
Yeah, a fantastic series so far to start this day off at the lower bracket finals, game number 3. This is looking quite a spicy series, and these teams are really the best of the best so far to go into the grand finals. Once again, for the viewers watching at home, Pikachu is from Singapore and MXH is from Vietnam. This is a best of 3 series, so 1 game win away for both these teams to be able to go to the grand finals. But for now, that is it. We're going to take a short break. My name is Infinity, and this is LOTUS. Don't go away. We're going back for game number 3. Welcome back, everyone, to the FSL Wild Rift Open 5, powered by Intel and Yahoo. And now we're on the last hurrah of the series. My name is Infinity, and this is LOTUS. It's already on match point for both these teams, Otto.
Didn't expect it to go the distance, but MXH Lotus ladies is saying, no, you're wrong, Otolus. We're going the distance and we're going to game number 3. This is all for the marbles here in Infinity. Winner advances to the grand finals, while the other would have to face again, or would have to settle for third place finish. Now, Infinity, there's a lot to unpack with what happened during the draft on game number 2. But as we near over the game number 3 draft, we heard that there would be a change of sides this time around, or is there? Let me check. Pikachu
Mm,
shoot. No, it's still the same. It's still the same
yeah,
side. We're still on the same
Pikachu
side here
chooses
in
red.
PD.
Yeah, I think it's more of comfortability. I think Pikachu wants to go
Yep.
for more of a counter rather than to go for prios, right? Because the advantage of picking blue side is that you have first pick, you have a prio on a single champion. As for red side, you're more of a counter type of draft. You're more of a counter type of side.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see how that would turn out for both these teams because so far this is a 1-to-1 series. And I'm excited to see this game 3. Like, how would this turn out? Is this going to be a 25-minute game once again?
Possibly. I just prefer a double marksman composition for the side of Pikachu better. Just because we saw, yes, it was effective during the early stages of the game. We saw the Vex, but the damage potential of Vex come late game isn't as impactful as the Corki, right? I think that's the biggest contrast from what happened on game number 1 and game number 2. And I know that Awin knows this. Awin should decide for herself that, hey, you know what? I'm not here to set for my teammates. I'm here to deal the killing blow. Because just from what we saw earlier, Aya's damage wasn't as impactful because, again, Huyen on that prom was just so tanky.
Yeah. So is this going to be like a Brom ban? Is this going to be an Olaf ban? Like, what are the bans going to look like? What are the picks and going to look like? What are the draft going to
I
look like? If
predict a
there
heavy
are,
priority on Corgi. That's just my thing.
yeah,
I think they would elect to go for what was the winning combination during game number 1, which was the Corki in the mid lane and another dragon laner in the bot lane. Remember, Aya was on Kaisa on game
hmm
number 1. They didn't get punished in the early game as much on game number 1, and on game number 2, there is a revelation that it goes the distance. So the best way to fight games here in FSL, at least in my eyes, because it really goes the distance, is to go for a full scaling composition rather than going for a mid game champion like a Vex.
yeah, and we've seen it happen yesterday. We've seen what Tristana, we've seen Vayne. Like these champions are hard scaling champions towards the late game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we could expect that once again if ever it comes down to it. So we'll see how the picks and bans will turn out. And we are almost there into this game number 3 onto
True.
aside from the late game champions, is there any expectations when it comes to picks?
There is also an interesting development that we are seeing here, Infinity, across our message board. That there is a potential that Noibe won't be playing, and that we would be
Hmm.
that they have to fill in Mailin. There's also a notice for us that there will be a penalty for MXH Lotus just because of some regulation concerns on their punctuality, and they would be losing the first ban. And this is huge. Remember, their bans earlier was to negate some scaling component
Yeah,
from the side of Pikachu. They were banning the Nasus. They were banning what else was their ban? They were banning the Nasus, the Gragas,
Nautilus.
and there's another scaling champion. I guess that was the Ziggs.
Wait, yeah, Ziggs. I think what their bans would look like from before is like Galio, Ziggs, like Gwen, I don't know if Nautilus showed up, but like these champions are, very significant as you stated. So it's going to
Mm-hmm.
look quite interesting, especially when Pikachu is now on the red side. They can immediately get 2 picks in
Yep,
their first phase. So it is going to be interesting when it comes to the draft for this game 3.
that's true. And I think they were able to still play with their supposed Baron laner, and that's not Malin is not playing. This is actually a welcome
Oh,
sight. I want this game to still be a continuation of the hottest or of the fierce battles that we have been casting so far. And we did say that there is going to be a heavy priority on the Corki. Lotus Ladies is saying, you know what? Corki is not going to see the Wild Rift today, and we are going to pick the Ziggs for ourselves.
and now Pikachu went in and doubled down. We're gonna have Jace, but we're also gonna have Ash. And this looks interesting. And MXH goes for Kha'Zix as well.
No Olaf this time. It has been banned away.
Yeah.
Will there be a Lucian pickup? Is this going to be a Lucian pickup? This is an Ash pick that would most likely be focused on throwing enchanted crystal arrows as they engage on the side lanes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we saw the Pikachu's game plan on game number 2 was to really attack the side lanes over and over again, right? And I think that's the reason and the rationale behind the Ash pickup. Another Braum pickup. Oh no.
Yeah. This was a huge problem a while ago for
Akali,
Pikachu.
okay.
So Akali would be the alleviation when it comes to accessing the backside, especially with the
True.
availability of Ziggs for MXH. This is important.
That was a problem earlier that was presented by Lotus Ladies, right? There was no one that is free to penetrate the backline. Yes, the Z was available, but it wasn't as impactful as they hoped for. So this Akali pickup again, its main role is to access the backline of Lotus Ladies to make sure that Vina on this Ziggs or maybe even Ennis on this Ziggs won't be as impactful.
Oh, they're banning away Zed as well, despite
Mm.
the availability of Akali already locked in for Pikachu. Quite an interesting ban there. But for Pikachu, on the other hand, they remove Set and Ari from MXH.
And removing the Ari that was a big problem for them on game number 2 is a very intelligent ban. They're going to round out the bans with Vi. It's interesting, right? There are a lot of other jugglers still present for the side of Pikachu.
Yeah.
And I actually like the fact that Pikachu still has the option to go for a Jace in the jungle. That gives them another option to go full scaling on the mid lane, maybe an Oriana. Because now it's all about making sure that you scale well into the late game. Braum, Galio, this tanks, you need some sort of penetrating damage for them to think twice in
Ooh.
tanking your damage. And we'll see. Camille being taken away here by Lotus with a Galio in the Ziggs. This is a very formidable combo.
Yeah, that's disgusting from MXH. They're going for like a protect the queen type of situation wherein Ziggs would be the queen. And you have Galio, you have Braum, you have Camille as the peel for the specific champion.
Mhm.
So a lot of expectations that is set by MXH, but they are quite monotonic when it comes to the damage aspect. If Galio is going in for more of an AP damage category, this is 2 of their damage carries going to be AP.
Yep, and the AD carries for the Lotus Lady side would be Camille and Kha'Zix. Camille versus Fiora is a skills matchup, but I would favor Fiora in the side lane. Pikachu going back to their roots, putting Jace in the jungle. And again, the threat of the Braum being so tanky would be the biggest question mark here. But now that you have a very reliable engage option coming from Pikachu, Enchanted Crystal Arrow that can really shut down Camille or Kha'Zix on the side lanes, things could go in the favor of Pikachu overall. I'm liking the draft of Pikachu even better now compared to game number 2.
Yeah, and I love this as well. I reiterate your thoughts. You have a long range engage coming in from Ash, and you also have the knockups. You have the roots coming from Nautilus as well to close the distance from the hook. So there's a lot of engage tools that Pikachu are able to utilize for this game number 3.
And what's best is they have Hawkshot available to detect some of the pathing of the Kha'Zix. Also, the amount of crowd control that they possess. If you are the Kha'Zix player, would you be as playful with your Void Assaults, with your assassinations, if you have a Nautilus that can just, instantly cast
you down.
Depth Charge once you go in?
Yeah, and on top of that, one hit from Nautilus, you're rooted on the ground. So
Yeah.
you can't go back away after an engage. So that's a big part as well to consider.
Yeah. We expect, the games to go the distance at 23 minutes. That's when I think that's how we should do things with FSL teams. We have to analyze the teams post 23 minutes or post 22 minutes, the 4 items power spike, which is greater, which has more potential. And for me, Pikachu's potential is still very much present there, at least on game number 3. So we'll see how Lotus Ladies would play this early game, because on game number 2 they played the early game immaculately.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. As you stated, this is going to be a heck of a game that we are going to watch, and I'm going for the counterpart. You know what? Even out the surface, even out the horizon. I'm going for MXH this time around. They have Ziggs that has so much damage towards the late game. They have CCs on the Galio and the Braum. So I'm expecting a lot of things as well. On top of that, they also have Camille. So when it comes to later on, the Venn diagram would be available for them in team fights.
Up until now, it's being used, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Season 0.
I know. It was I used it on one of my casts. Up until now, it still is being used. The Venn diagram, the circles above circles. But we'll see. Again, Infinity, we can analyze it as much as we want, but it all boils down to execution. We have to throw it away because at 23 minutes, once you have the dragon stacked up and once you have the other dragon with you, it's basically an auto-win condition for you, right? And we saw that MXH Lotus Ladies, what they did during game number 2 was to snowball their lead in the early game, get 3 dragons, and by taking away 3 dragons, the other dragon didn't hurt as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also want to add about why I'm gearing towards MXH. You know what?
Yep.
We have differences, but when you're looking at the individual matchup into the mid lane, as Kali would have a greater damage, would have a better assassination potential, but that Shroud is not going to be that effective when you have Enes with a perfect timed taunts, with perfect timed CCs onto Kali.
But the question is, up until when, right? At level 5, this Akali would have the perfect execution available. And even if you are the quote-unquote anti-mage in the mid lane, and even if you have Aftershock, it could still favor this Akali post-level 5. And you also see that Jemmy is here to support Awen. This is a very interesting matchup. You're favoring the Galio for good and obvious reasons. But for me, the level 5 threat would still be ever so present for the Assassins.
That's true, that's true. We'll see, we'll see. The damage versus CCs. Who's going to make it towards the end? Who's going to win it? Because right now, once again, this is already match point. This is a best of 3 lower bracket finals. And the winner for this game will proceed to battle it out up against Chasing Dreams in the grand finals.
That's true. Where the Chasing Dreams players are already waiting on the comment section. I cannot shout you out, guys. I cannot read the comments while casting, but you guys know who you are. I know that I want to, shout out to friends that are currently watching, especially Berting. He's saying something about our English casting here in Infinity.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, my nose is
bleeding.
Bleeding. Yeah.
Well, we'll see though. Some jokes here and there just to make sure that we prepare ourselves for the ultimate. For the ultimate clashes that will happen here in game number 3. Again, this is a do or die series for both these teams, so it is expected that they would go all out.
Yeah, and once again, you have the roams to support. Claria is there in the mid lane. Huyen is there as well, so this might be a potential clash coming in. But this is quite dangerous, and so far, once again, we keep on talking about Nautilus in tournaments, wherein when it comes to the early game, so much power for a Nautilus.
And he's tankier than Arakan, at least in the early stages, just because of the shields that he has. So more flexibility for her to go all out and prioritize the Stasis Ancient. This is what you're talking about, right? The Shield of the Rand, when perfectly timed, could be a nuisance for the account. I don't know. I'm still favoring the Akali. Let's see.
Let's see. Already a level 6 mid laner for Pikachu. Awen is there, ready to deal damage. But looking at
in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Well, long range engage. The stun is there. Shock blast to follow up. Uses up the flash for Vina to go back to safety. But that's 2 summoner spell burned.
You can see it from a mile away. Aya was angling that enchanted crystal arrow. They were able to take 2 summoners. And that's information given. Remember, as a Ziggs, you are very vulnerable from the assassins. So later on, if we see a 5v5 fight at 5 minutes, Vina could end up dying at the first minute or first second of the clash.
This is scary. If Ngokbe uses up the ult, then the hook will not connect. That was a good dodge coming in from Camille.
I know, no need to hook shot or no need for extra shenanigans, no need to invest the summoners. But what they're doing right now is to just prep up the wave for them to do a full reset. We're 30 seconds before the objectives spawn up. And again, by the 30-second mark or by the 5-minute mark, you would have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as a reliable engage for Pikachu. So now Pikachu decides to go for a full reset. Spend those unspent gold and go for gold.
Yeah, objective prio though. Talk me through it, Otto.
For me, it would be always the Rift Herald. The amount of pressure that you can create by taking down the tower in the mid lane or even on the top lane is just too much. The Mountain Dragon also is one of the healthier dragons that we have in the game, so it's something that you can still contest even if you prioritize the Rift Herald.
Alright, the stuns is there onto Vina. Going in, Heroes Entrance going through. Not be able to go for it, but look at the backside. Camille Hextech ultimatum onto Nautilus. Stasis Ancient to buy time. They're able to take the first blood. Aya though uses the flash, but May is there to follow up and respond. Double kill already. Fiora uses up the launch, secures that kill, and that is a 2-for-2 trade for now. But fight's not over as Pikachu is still going through and through, but MXH opts to back away.
Vina does not have any mana, and Banana just went nuts. That engaged. Overall, it's a 2-for-2, but you could see the potential of both these teams. Vina was so safe in the backline, and she has to be careful because, again, she didn't have summoners, but it did not stop her from dealing enough damage. Overall, though, the Rift Herald was secured by Pikachu, so that's their win.
Oh yeah, definitely. And right now, looking out from those teams. Quite a while ago, May got 2 kills. So a huge injection of gold to say the least.
Oh,
and though going in for the 2v1. Fiora is in danger. Launch to go back. Enchanted Crystal Arrow zones away May and Ennis.
That's the zoning arrow. The zoning arrow special. Yeah. Even if it doesn't connect, it makes you think twice. And that's the reason why, you know, Ash is just a very strong pickup in the meta right now. Gives you the vision, gives you a reliable engage, and gives you a cross map or a global pressure to play around with.
Yeah, it's global presence, right? Coming in from Pikachu, but right now it's a 3-man roam coming in from this team as well onto Huyan, forcing out the Glacial Fissure to disengage.
But the Rift Herald has been summoned in the top lane. They still need to hit these towers just a fair bit. No, not needed anymore, and that's a secured tower. In the top lane, Depth Charge is going to be used just to make sure they are going to be able to run away unscathed in the top lane.
Good tower first blood though from Pikachu. This is a lot of gold onto Nautilus, onto Akali, and the rest of the crew for this team. And so far, still not that far when it comes to a goal difference from these two teams.
This is a mismatch. I think MXH Lotus Ladies needs to change things up because a Galio versus a Fiora matchup in the side lane won't give you justice. And I think this is the reason why, you know, picking a mid lane Galio isn't as effective anymore, because what you normally do is you rotate your side laners or your dragon laners onto the mid lane. And now what it does is it negates the hero's entrance vision. Hold that thought though.
Roam. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will not connect. May is there to respond, but the CC chain is going to be so good as they take the kill onto this champion. The jungler is down. Now Hero's Entrance knocks up onto Aya. No follow-up. Rom is just extinguished from the face of the earth. And now the taunt is there. Coming in from Ennis though. That's good. But so far, the flash over the wall. Fiora's back to safety. And this Pikachu goes away with 2 kills. No trade.
I know. Pikachu with a peekaboo moment against Lotus Ladies, taking away 2. And was successfully able to assassinate without any casualty whatsoever. We could see that the threat, again, of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, even if it did not connect all the CCs that Pikachu possesses from the Nautilus, was actually enough. And I think this is a revelation why Nautilus was heavily prioritized in the banning stages on games number 1 and games number 2. It's just so strong in the early stages of the game. No need to buy tanky items just because of the shields, of the second ability. And now it's night and day compared from the Rakan performance of Claria.
Yeah, and it's just so much CCs, right? Nautilus, just point and click ultimate. You have a knockoff in the bag. You have the hook to close in the distance. You have the root. You have the shields. Just so much potential in the early game.
Yep.
Although right now,
Not
Pikachu.
bad.
Whew,
I
potential
know.
death rush.
It's a sweaty one. Hinty.
Root onto Braum. The Glacial Fissure is there to counter engage. Look at the Hextech Ultimatum being denied by the Stasis Enchant. But now May looks to go to the backside as well. But Alwyn is there to defend Aya. But
She doesn't have
through
flash.
and through the assassin versus assassin matchup. Hero's entrance zones her away. But still Nyokbe dies in the process.
And that's the hidden passive of the Akali as well. Once you hide under the Twilight Shroud, every single one of your team would get scared but by the potential of the perfect execution. It was a 1v4 battle in the end with Noitbe going down, and now Pikachu still wants to pressure down the mid lane here, Infinity.
They have the potential. You have the ultimate from Aya in a couple of seconds, and with that, they have another engage tool that they can do or even counter engage up against MXH. Just so much CCs available in this draft.
No 3 dragons for the Lotus ladies this time round. Pikachu is poised to secure the second dragon. That's the Ocean Dragon for themselves. Is still able to take down the tower in the mid lane. And again, this is the first time that we're saying that Pikachu is winning the early game, and with the composition that they have, if they don't commit any silly mistakes, they are poised to go to the grand finals.
Let's look at this. 5-man roam from Pikachu, and Shattered Crystal Adder will not connect. Mega Inferno Bomb, not that sufficient to deal damage. Glacial Fissure though, 3-man knock up on the backside, and Nis is there to follow through if ever it comes down to it. But Pikachu's overextension just makes them or force them out to retreat.
True, and Lotus Ladies was also able to make a play topside. I think that's because they missed their skill shots. If they didn't miss the Enchanted Crystal Arrow or even the Dredge line coming from Claria, it could have been, you know, another tower going down in favor of Pikachu. Still, what needs to be done here is for Banana or Fiora to stay her lane. No need for Banana to go elsewhere. She has the Hullbreaker. She has the Divine Sunder. She's known to be the grand duelist for a reason. Just make sure that Noitbit doesn't go unchecked. Just make sure that you put on the pressure and trust the 4 teammates that you have here in Pikachu.
Yeah, and you also have Grasp of the Undying to make it so that she has the advantage in a 1v1 setup up against Nyokbe. But there's a different story when it becomes a 2v1 as May comes into the backside as a flank. Now, the grand challenges there might get popped. If it is popped, there is a lot of HP steal that could happen in HP regen as well, forcing out the flash, and that puts Banana at a disadvantage as May could catch up. One more dash in. This could be the end of it for Fiora.
Post! My god, is this an outplay?
Oh, the launch! The outplay! They get the 1-for-1 trade!
I'm speechless here, Infinity. My god, the amount of time bought by Banana in the Baron lane is just basically the reason why you have an almost always winning lane. If you have a Fiora, come the later stages of the game, once you have this set of items, the 2v1 was not a problem, but definitely we have to praise the player, right? It's not the champion, it's the player. And Banana just went nuts in that 2v1.
Yeah, that outplay was surreal. It was crazy to comprehend how Banana was able to do it. Because in a 2v1 situation, you're more or less destined to die. You're more or less destined to have a disadvantage. But still, they were able to get that 1-for-1 trade, which means that it isn't as bad to get killed from that fight. In fact, you have huge value from that.
True, they were also able to take down the tower in the bot lane. That's 3 outer towers down for the Lotus ladies. And Infinity, right now, what they can do, if you are Pikachu, is to take away the resources. That's what they're doing. They're taking away the blue buff. They're taking away the red buff at present. And they just want to starve the ladies from MXH right now.
Oh, look at the damage from Jace, though. Satchel charge, disengaged, but at this point, just the goal difference has been coming into fruition, and we're observing how much damage difference Pikachu has up against MXH.
Right now, it's just they're focusing their efforts in taking away the resources from May. 2k gap against Jebby here on the Jays. Just, the biggest difference that I believe that we have from game 2 and game 3 is that Jebby is on a more comfortable champion right now, which is the Jays. Her Zed had flashes, but it wasn't as, I would say, effective as the Jays pick here in this game number 3. Triple armor penetration items for her right now. Has the Edge of Night. And when you have the Edge of Night as a Jace, you can be even more aggressive. Right now, again, the star of the night, star of the day. A possible 2v1 once again. Infinity, brace yourself.
Yeah, Justice Punch goes in. The taunt is there to follow up. CC Chain is good, but Fiora, repose, not going to be sufficient. Uses up the flash to negate the ultimate coming in from Ziggs. Grand challenge is there, but flash in for Gaio to secure the kill.
Finally, but that's too many ultimates invested just for one member. Look at the Lotus ladies though. They want the Baron. No
yeah, and Jace
way.
is too far to catch up.
Hawkshot.
Ash gets this information, but Jace is too far away. I don't think this is going to be a potential for a steal. Glacial Fisher is there to disengage. 1k HP left.
No.
As Pikachu is there to contest as MXH secures the Baron that they want. Hook onto Mei. This is the CC that they need. But now, once again, the Hex Ultimatum getting denied by Aya, Stasis, Anchat, and Nyopbe. Just has to say goodbye. This is a 1-for-1 trade, but in the end, MXH with a Baron Nashor, so much value.
Very decisive coming from the Lotus ladies. Now Pikachu needs to respond and take down this Infernal Dragon. There would be a challenge though, Infinity. This is a 4v5 in favor of Pikachu. Let's see what's going to happen in this decisive fight.
Yeah. So far, so much damage pokes coming from MXH. Mega Inferno Bomb puts Pikachu's HP at a low state. The zone is there, but Pikachu still secures the Infernal Drake, and now the fight occurs. The Brawler is there. Akali with the assassination gets the kill onto Braum, and now Aya is just able to prove so much damage, and they get 4 kills from that, and now Vina has to retreat, but you have Jace coming in. Jebby might just be able to secure it, and that will be the unofficial ace. Actually, official ace from Pikachu. It reached up to that point.
That's true, and there is no more Baron for the side of Lotus ladies. They just threw away the Baron buff, and Pikachu wants to end this, Infinity.
Hextech Ultimatum locks in onto Nautilus. They secure the kill, but in trade, Nyokbe is a very low state. Just have to go away. But they're able to open up the Nexus, open up the mid lane, and hit her down.
It's a golden Nexus, so the wise decision is for Pikachu to back away. Net positive for the side of Pikachu once again. Lotus ladies was able to catch a break, get down, and then take down the Baron for themselves. They didn't take care of the buff at all. They weren't even able to take down the tower in the mid lane. If you were MXH Lotus ladies, you understand the rationale. You have the momentum. You want the challenge for the Infernal Dragon. But I believe that the safer play at that point was to utilize your Baron to at least take down towers and to basically dwindle down and narrow down the goal lead that Pikachu currently possesses. But Lotus ladies, again, not doing their homework and their due diligence to take care of that Baron really punished them so hard.
Right. Because right now, MXH having huge disadvantage in this game. 6k gold lead already for Pikachu with 2 dragons in the bag. At this point, Otto, what do you think MXH has to do despite this huge gold disparity against Pikachu?
They have to rely on the wave clear coming from Vina. But yeah, it's effective if you don't have Baron. Wait, Enchanted Crystal Arrow connects onto one.
Next, followed up by Nautilus, Glacial Fisher to try and counter engage, but that's not enough. Huyen has to force out the flash, but in the end, it's still a kill for Jace.
Huyen is not as tanky as what happened in game number 2. It was immortal, to say the least, on game number 2, but on game number 3, she looks human. She looks very vulnerable. There's a 1v1 ongoing on the bot lane here.
Fiora with a grand challenge already popped. That's going to secure the kill. Hero's entrance is there. Justice Punch to follow through. The trade is secure with a 1-for-1. But look at the backside. Pikachu is there. 3-man roam is not going to pull through. Not going for an all-in engage for Pikachu.
It's a 1-for-1. The most damage, but you still have 3 damage dealers coming from Pikachu. This is what you need to do if you are MXH Lotus ladies. Rely on the wave clear coming from Vina. Extend the game as far as possible. Go for the quote-unquote Elder Dragon win condition, because that's always present for your team. Remember, in 1 minute, at 20-minute mark, the Elder Dragon would be the point of contention for both these teams.
Yeah. Definitely a very important dragon, a very important buff. Because the HP execute has so much to give for any of these teams at all. It's just so significant. Even if you're a tank, your HE is going to dwindle down with the Elder Drake available for a certain team. And what you've mentioned a while ago, Braum is not as tanky as before
Hmm.
because what can you do up against a Fed ADC, up against Fed champions?
Yeah, and also you have armor penetration that just basically penetrates all the armor items that you build up. All of the items here by the Braum is on the armor side, so giving more value for the armor penetration items that is currently being possessed here by the Jace. 10
Mhm.
seconds away from the Elder Dragon. Pikachu still basically controls the blue quadrant of Lotus Ladies. Later on, they might, time the red buff as well. Just taking away the resources from May, making sure that she's not going to be as effective in this game number 3. So far, it's been all Pikachu right now.
Yeah, and while this is happening, Fiora is pushing top lane, so there's a huge pressure as well that Pikachu is providing. Yes, we're going for the Elder Drake, but at the same time, even if we don't take it, we're pressuring on top lane. We're putting Nyokbe in a bad position so that she doesn't go into those team fights.
For items for this Fiora, Banana is just so scary right now.
Definitely.
Elder
The
Dragon being
Elder
started,
Drake.
I guess. Infi.
Yeah, let's look. Let's look at the Dragon Pit. What's happening right now is that Pikachu is starting this off. Might potentially just be baiting MXH and then turn around right after.
Could be, could be. This Zig still packs a punch. Half health on the dragon.
Glacial Fisher is there. Two-man knock up to follow through. No follow-up. There is a Mega
Where's
Inferno
May?
Bomb.
Oh
This is
no!
the Elder Drake being secured by Pikachu. And this might be the game-ending objective that they want. They're looking to go and pivot themselves into the mid lane while Fiora is pushing on top. This is two inhib turrets with two minion waves crashing down. And the Nexus is open. 4k HP with Galio and Vina left. This is not enough as Pikachu will go to the grand finals.
The Thunder Shock turned into a Thunderbolt, and Pikachu books themselves onto the grand finals. What a way to secure that game 3 for the Singaporean squad. Again, getting that Elder Dragon in the process. I was a bit surprised with how they were able to secure that without any contest from May, but that's what happens when you have a huge amount of goal lead. MVP goes over to Jebby once again on this Jace.
Right. The plays though from this team is phenomenal. I think every single one of Pikachu have been significant into playing that match. And yes, I use KDA 0112. No kills, sure. But the thing is, those enchanted crystal arrows were significant. Were important into the win of Pikachu in this game 3.
It just made things a lot easier for them. Again, when you have the enchanted crystal arrow, you have a very good engage tool that can be followed through with long distance damage dealers that you have from the jungle, from the mid lane. And overall, again, the game plan of Pikachu is to just go for small wins, translate it into bigger wins, come objectives, and they did that. On game number 3, they have proven that they are the better team. GG's to MXH Lotus Ladies. We will see them again next open. But for now, we have to ready ourselves, Infinity, for a clash between Chasing Dreams and Pikachu.
Yeah, and this storyline, this grand finals is going to look quite daring from both these teams actually, because this is going to be one of the best series that we could watch in FSL Wild Rift Open. This is the best teams so far in Southeast Asia.
We'll have a longer break before we go to the grand finals. But once we are back, we will be presented the Chasing Dreams from the Philippines and Pikachu from Singapore battling it out once again, just like in SEA Games.